pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, everyone. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a treat today. We have Stephanie Erb on the show, and she is actually a friend of Heather McFall, who we do talk about in this episode particularly. So I just wanted to kind of introduce some stuff and so that you understand what is happening, because I did not do a great job of introducing her. So we harken back to season 1, episode 6, rock show, where she played Tammy 2's prettier, quote unquote, sister. And I'm saying quote because that's how it was written. It's not Stephanie's beautiful. It's not because Stephanie's not beautiful. Okay, just want to make sure that's very clear.
Or Megan Mullally.
Or Megan Mullally. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They're both gorgeous.
Right. And I meant to say that too, because she talked about how it was supposed to be recurring, or it could have been recurring. I don't know if it was like set in stone that it was going to be recurring. But like, if you're going to lose out to anyone, Megan Mullally is pretty great.
Yeah.
Although I do understand her point, and that would be such a cool dynamic to see, like how them two would interact as sisters, as siblings. The show could have had so many like webisodes, spinoffs. For sure, like 100%.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so yes, we got voice memos from Heather McFall, who played one of the people that was complaining to Leslie about Leslie's city council phase, No Problem Too Small. We played her deleted scene, and we got a great voice memo from Heather talking about improving with the audition and everything. And then when I posted that, I got an email from Stephanie being like, oh my God, I'm such a huge fan of Parks and Rec. Like, I'd love to talk to you about it. And I think at that point I hadn't really started reaching out to guest stars. Like, I kind of found that was one of the things that I loved to do. So I'm glad that she reached out to me and kind of did it vice versa, or the opposite direction. But yeah, so it's super fun to talk to her.
Yeah, she's great. And you can tell her love for Parks is strong outside of the role she played. So we always love that when we're talking to a fellow fan.
Yeah, totally. And love talking about just some stuff like all the TV shows that we're watching, and just some stuff also about, her career, her trajectory, her crazy stories about casting and her first film and all that stuff, which was wild. So it's not all Parks. I will say that to you just as a heads up, but I feel like it very rarely ever is. We go on tangents and just have a fun time talking to people and having conversations. So it was great.
Agreed.
Okay, well, we'll leave you to the episode, and we'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share this with all of your friends, and we'll talk to you on the next one.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Hi, you guys.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Well, I have to say that Parks and Rec is one of the few shows I've done where later on I binged it and thought this show deserved a million Emmys. And then I binged it again just to make sure I wasn't an idiot. And I don't, this is where show business makes me so angry, because Amy Poehler deserved an Emmy every year. And the show itself just was sort of its own little creation, but it had heart and weirdness and so funny and girl power and lots of stuff that you can't find anywhere. And so when I heard that you guys do this thing, I was like, well, my part was not that significant, but my belief in the show and my love of the show is. So that's why I wanted to reach out to you guys.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you did. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. And also, I mean, we're the same way, where we kind of feel like every Parks episode, I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing, first of all. But secondly, like, we were reviewing, which one was it, Maddie? I think it was the Pawnee Eagleton tip-off, where like I'll find, this is definitely one of those shows, and it's similar to The Office in a way with the ratings and everything, where the crowd was not a huge fan of certain things in the show. When Maddie and I look at it, we're like, what? This is
genius.
Genius. Like the whole stop pooping episode.
Yeah.
Like I when I want to laugh, I just watch that.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah,
so
I feel like the difference between it and The Office is it had more of a soul. The Office was a little meaner to me. And
Yeah,
I don't
the
know. I
first
feel like I need kindness. Like if I'm sick
mm,
in bed and I'm binging something, that's what I want to binge. And I feel
it's
like
definitely
Amy
lighter.
kind of tread that line between being tough and snarky and adorable and soft and loving and all. It's very hard to do that, what she did. And I
Mhm.
just feel like if you are flashy, you get the Emmy. But if you're doing something that's actually really multifaceted and difficult, sometimes you don't get noticed. I mean, they got nominations, but they didn't win anything. And that's crazy to me.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, you have to also remember too the documentary style. That was really the only second show that I feel people really noticed that it was something so new, so fresh. People were like, "What the hell is happening? Like, what even is this?" And I think people thought that The Office was going like a one and done type of like style of the
Mm.
mockumentary, but like to continue
Yeah.
that and not only continue it, but to make a whole new genre almost. You know, it was. I think it kind of was new and different for people.
Well, it wasn't a mid-season replacement, and the first year was only 8 episodes. I was in the 8th episode of the first year. Nobody knew what this show was gonna be. I had never heard of it, and it's weird. I had auditioned for The Office to play some grumpy business lady that a friend of mine ended up booking it, and they just offered me the role in the first season to play Tammy's prettier younger sister. And I was like, why did you offer me this role? And they were like, because we liked your audition for The Office. So I was like, okay. But I had no idea what the show was. Amy Poehler was very nice in the makeup trailer. Everyone seemed like they were trying to figure out where they were going. And
Mm.
then there was this huge kind of revamp before the second season. And my character, which was listed as possibly recurring, disappeared.
Uh-huh.
Bless you,
Thank
Maddie.
you.
He has
I'm trying
allergies
not
this
to
morning.
interrupt your
And so I disappeared, which was very sad because
Mm.
normally, we take possible recurrings. We hope they turn into recurrings. But then if you have Megan Mullally being Tammy and other Tammys and that, things change. But, this is at a time when the networks gave a show a chance, to redevelop, to get more juju going for their following season, and they really did it. Because I had no idea what it was,
That's
you
so
know, and
crazy
I,
that you
I
auditioned for The Office and then they
and I
called
didn't
you
audition
there.
for this part, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
wow.
also saw like everybody was improving all the time, and I was like, am I supposed to improv? I don't know. Like I didn't even know because there was no script for me what kind of character I was supposed to be. The character I read for in The Office was a very deadpan, kind of grumpy businesswoman, but there was kind of not a lot written about Tammy. So I just I made her a goofball basically. And I was very proud of myself because I improv the line, "We hate Tammy, Tammy stinks." I was like, "Hey, I contributed to this iconic show by saying
Yeah.
Tammy stinks." Um, but I really
That's
didn't know what I
awesome.
was getting into or what it was gonna be at all, and then sadly, I disappeared. But later on, I started watching the show and I was like, "Oh, this show is so adorable and
Mhm.
funny and weird," and each character, you love them. They're messed up, but you love them, you know?
Yes. Yes. Well, and just as a refresher, I didn't even introduce which episode you were in. But yes,
Yeah,
for the listener, I even needed a refresher. I watched your episode again because season 1 seems so far away from where
sure
we are
Yes,
does.
now.
what we're
It's so
doing.
crazy. But yes, this one was season 1, episode 6, rock show, iconic episode. So many things I feel were tied up, but also started there. This is
Yes.
for a reminder for the listener. This is the one where Andy gets his cast off, and we learn that he could have gotten it off 2 weeks ago, but he rescheduled it to basically trick Anne and just keep serving him hand and foot. And that was really hilarious. And then Leslie's mom set Leslie up on the date. I totally forgot about that guy,
Gosh,
which
I
is so
forgot
crazy
about
because
that
we
too.
clearly reviewed it, but he was like 85 years old. I think she says 62, but he looks a little older, and she's
Older.
clearly in her 30s.
Yeah.
And she thought it was like a really strategic government meeting, which I thought was so hilarious because I kind of expected some more outrage when her mom says that he's from Eagleton. I was like, what? So I feel like we hadn't gotten to the
We
Eagleton
hadn't gotten the
hatred quite
rivalry
yet.
going. Yeah, for sure.
Like we knew we
Yeah.
hated them, but we weren't really like tangibly and out loud saying I hate them. So that was a really interesting reminder to me because now we're in the thick of when Pawnee and Eagleton merge. What a
Yes.
crazy twist of fate.
Indeed.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Chris Pratt, of course, was like, nobody'd heard of this dude. And his weird band and everything. And I spent most of the episode sitting at a little table with Nick Offerman listening to the Chris Pratt band. And I'm like, what is this? I couldn't even hear anything because it was so loud.
Yeah, I was going to ask
yeah.
that. So they were actually playing music while during the scenes. It wasn't like over the loudspeaker or anything.
I
Were they
feel
actually
like,
playing?
now this was a long time ago. There was music. I don't know if we did some without sound. A lot of times when you have concerts and things, they'll do one with no sound so that you can get your lines on and hear other stuff. And sometimes I know there was sound. At some point there was, and the guy who played his guitarist is a friend of mine too. I also know so many people who've been on the show because they hired really good character actors. Like I did a play with Ethel Beavers, Helen Slayton Hughes.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
She was the funniest lady. I did a commercial with her and then I did a play with her. And she lived in LA downtown with no car.
Whoa.
And she was in her 80s. So we'd be shooting a commercial and we'd be cutting around 9 p.m. She goes, well, I'm going to get on the bus. I'm like, no,
Oh
you're
my
not.
gosh.
No.
Yeah, I know. I drove her to the bus station because I was like, she was a very brave and unique human being, and I just love her in that part. And what
She's
a
so
great name of a
fierce.
character. She's super
yeah.
fierce, and she always was till like the end. You guys need to look up her recording of the Groundhog Day song. If you haven't ever, you have to look it up. Groundhog
Okay.
Day song.
I'm going to look
makes
it
me
up and then
laugh.
I'm going to link it and then show notes for everyone
You
to see.
absolutely. And Helen in heaven will be going, thank you, Stephanie, because that was one of, she worked on musicals and scripts a lot in her free time, but she was always working.
Scripts as in writing?
Well, like usually musicals. So
Oh,
she
okay.
would be, she loved music, and she had a couple musicals that she was working on with a partner. I don't remember his name, but she just kept really busy, and she didn't have a car. I just thought, this is like, I could see her with her walker walking 20 miles to get to a set or something.
My
But
gosh.
I don't think she ever did that.
Oh my God.
But what a character. And they found her. I mean, she'd always worked, but I think that was her most iconic character on television ever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And when you say friend, do you mean Burley?
Yes.
The guitar player, sorry.
Yes. Yes. I did a few plays with his wife, his now wife, and we all, if you've been doing this as long as I have, you kind of start to know everybody, which also takes the fun out of watching television because you're like, oh, that girl's such a bitch. How did she get this part? And stuff like that, And that's the truth of it. And then when you know someone's really kind and good, you're like, yay, they broke through the wall of whatever it is that you're trying to break through. That I really have forgotten over time you start going, why am I doing this? Who am I?
Yes.
But I just felt like Parks and Rec had found some of the best character actors and threw them in there. And sometimes like Jenny Slate, it's Slate, right? With
So
a T.
good.
Where's
Yeah.
the Slate? T.
Slate.
I know she'd probably worked a lot, but until then I had never seen her before, and now she's huge,
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's so cool. I think we've heard a lot of feedback in a lot of the interviews we've done about, like you're saying, the good eggs, like that got in there, right? And all we've heard about everybody on Parks, like the guest stars and the lead cast, like that everyone was just a really sweet person and really great to work with. And I think that's so special,
It's a
in that industry.
rarity. I just did a recur on Bosch Legacy, and everybody was so cool. And I was like, please, baby Jesus, I want this to live forever, because I had a character that could come back, and then Amazon canceled it. So I was like,
Ugh.
oh, the odds of finding a set where the crew and the cast and everybody kind of digs each other, and even the people who are grumpy and weird, you kind of know you have to take them for a grain of salt. But, Parks and Rec, that's why I was so devastated when my character disappeared, because I thought this could be a really fun show to play on. And, some of the characters that I'm sure were recurring to begin with became series regulars. I don't know which ones you guys probably know, but, I
Yeah,
love
totally.
Retta. Yeah.
Retta's awesome. I think they
Yes.
were always expecting Retta and Jerry or Jim O'Hare to be on the show forever. They just didn't know what to do with them at
Yeah.
first. And maybe in the back of their head they were like, they don't have to live forever, I guess. But I think it's the way that my mindset has been, if you have one episode, then like it's just an added bonus if you get more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just
Yeah.
because you never know, there have been people like even Pratt. He was only supposed to be on there for 6 episodes. It was just that first season that he was supposed to be, and then they liked him so much that they continued having him. Or Dr.
And I'm
Harris,
sure
who
he
was in this
improved his
episode.
yeah, I'm sure he improved his butt off, which he was really good at, and they were like, "Oh, there's gold to be mined right there,"
Yeah, totally. Oh my God! Speaking
And there
of
was the
which,
guy
oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
go
No,
ahead.
you go first.
The guy who played the boyfriend in the first season, he disappeared.
Yes, Mark. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there, but he,
Ye- Yeah, basically, we tried to find that out too because that was another note I had that Mark was here and Mark was hitting on Anne at the time. And I actually really I love first season Anne because she's totally like, fuck you. And I can't believe you're hitting on me right now in front of my boyfriend. Like, I love that so much. And I just love how badass she is.
Yeah.
And she continues to be that way, but she like softens obviously and develops more and everything like that. But I loved that so much. And I was interested in Mark, but I knew that, they kind of didn't have much more to do with him. I think they kind of ran out. And then when Ben came, it was like, well, they're going to be the love interest. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that was kind of what was happening. At least I've asked the producers, just one actually. Yeah. I think I asked
Which
another one,
one?
but I never got an answer. I have Norm. Norm Hiscock is the best.
Oh,
Yeah, he worked on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he's just doing the King of the Hill reboot. He's done a ton of stuff,
yeah.
but he has been so kind and so generous with his time every time I message him. And we did a full interview with him, but every time I have a question about parks, I'm always like, wait, how did this work? Why did Leslie hate libraries? What is this? What is that?
I love that. I love that you'll get an answer too.
Oh my gosh, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, this is so not like normal. I feel like it should be.
It is not.
They created the
I would,
world that they
yeah.
wanted to live in.
I would have killed to do any of the other Mike Schur shows, but I just never had an audition for them, and I have
Yeah.
no idea why. Maybe
Yeah.
I comported myself horribly on that day. I
No,
don't
not
know.
at all.
No.
This is this business makes no sense. It's nothing that you did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a wonder we're not all alcoholics, or maybe we are. I don't know.
I don't know what the percentage on that
Yeah, it's
is.
probably not good. And this is not alcohol, by the way. It's green tea. So.
Okay, love that. But yeah, Norma's talking about how Mark was I think his name is Paul something. He actually didn't really come from the improv comedy world, and I think that I don't think that was like why per se. He did not do a poor performance. They spoke very highly of him, but it was more of like, we don't know where to go with this character. And I think audiences also saw that because like even in this last episode of the season, he was very like, great, I got a speed bump down 2 inches or whatever, like who cares, you know what I mean? And that kind of energy was so the opposite of what we needed in the show, I feel, for the excitement of city government. But it also was a nice foil in a way to show how hard everything is, like, and Leslie's foil to that of how big of a deal it is to get 2 inches down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and that's making mountains out of molehills is exactly what the show is about sometimes. I feel like you also never know what went on behind the scenes.
Totally.
You just don't. It could be money. It could be network, it could be, there's just so many variables. It's a wonder anybody gets a job. Although I think being a series regular on SNL is really helpful. I forgot
Sure.
to do
Oh, yeah.
that.
Oh, to be a series regular on SNL?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's where Jenny
I
started.
interned there for a year, which was a fascinating process. But then I got a tour doing Shakespeare all over the country. And I was
Oh,
like,
cool.
the interns didn't get paid. And it was more like waiting to see if somebody would throw you a bone.
Oh, yeah.
And
SNL is
so I
like,
left.
it has to be fateful
its own
and
beast.
destiny. But yeah, Maddie,
Yeah, it
you're
really has
right.
to be.
Jenny Slate started on SNL as well.
Oh, and
Yeah.
then we don't remember her from that, do we? I
Maddie
don't.
does.
Yeah, I just am too much of an SNL head to. I was watching when she was on, and so when she was on SNL, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Jenny Slate made it onto Parks and Rec. That's so cool."
Oh, that is cool. Well, she seems like a lovely person.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us, when you first got that call, was it from an agent? Was it from a casting director directly to you, or how did that happen for
No, in
Parks?
general, the modus operandi is that you hear from your representatives, whether it be your manager or your agent. You never really hear from casting directly. It's kind of a no-no unless you're friends with someone to interact with casting, because otherwise
Mm.
they'll be answering a lot of needy actor questions and things, and they don't want to do that, and I don't blame them. But yeah, they were like, "Do you want to do this part?" And it wasn't very big, and I was actually at the time, I think, working on some substantial stuff. So they're like, "But it's possible recurring." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." That was like, that's the key phrase everybody wants, because you never know. Like, there were friends of mine who had 3 lines in a pilot were suddenly series regulars and, you know,
Mm.
stacking away the cash for their future and stuff. So I rarely said no to things unless they were insulting. So I said, "Of course." I had no idea what the part was. They're like, "They want you to do this." They didn't I didn't get a script or anything. So I was largely, I would say, confused most of the time about why I was there. And I think I asked Mike Schur, what he's the one I asked, "Why did you cast me?" Because I didn't read for this role, and it was because of the uh, office role that I had already read for, and that's all I knew. And I
Yeah.
basically showed up on the set kind of being in wonder, and like Aziz Ansari was like writing down funny things he was going to say, and I was like, "What kind of show is this?" Because I had mostly done the 3-camera sitcoms up to then. So
Yeah.
this was
They
a
did that a
different beast.
lot. Like they
What?
called people from their office auditions and got them on Parks. We've heard that from a lot of guest stars, actually.
Really? I did not
Mhm.
know that.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
it
Well,
was
they
like,
kill a few birds with one stone that way,
well, and it's just so like as an actor, I feel it's such a shock because you're like, you are trained to just do your audition and then set it and forget it, kind of leave it behind. You did the best that you could, move on. And so to
Yeah.
hear like a couple years later or a year later or even like a week later, whatever time frame it might be, that
Yeah.
they stuck in your head and you are now being offered this other show, like what the F? And also just to be offered it as well as not auditioning
That's
is such
huge.
a
We all,
Mhm.
what?
offer only is what we all. I know, like Betsy Brandt, who's, I used to know her back in the day. She has a mug that says "offer only" on it, and I'm like, oh my God.
Manifestation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here's what I remember about the office audition was, it was a very grumpy businesswoman who's being bothered about something at some kind of gala or businessy luncheon, and somebody's bugging her. And then there was no tagline. So I went, "Can I eat my pie now?" I just remember saying that. I added that line.
I love
And I
that.
don't know. That's all I remember though. I'm completely actually trying to remember stuff, but it was a long, long time ago. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all I remember from the audition.
Yeah, totally. Well, do you remember getting like when did you get the script or when did you get the lines that you were saying? Was it the day of, day before?
I honestly, I don't remember. The protocol is usually you get it a little bit ahead of time, unless the show is really kind of, helter skelter, in which case I've been on shows where they're like, "Here's your script the day you get there." And you're like, "My part is mostly gone. Did you not want me to know that? So you made me wait, you know?"
Oh no.
Uh, so usually you get it ahead of time. And I don't even remember how many lines I had. I just knew I was there a lot because I had many days of shooting. but I honestly didn't know what to expect at all. And
Yeah,
I did
totally.
remember that Amy was really nice in the makeup trailer. I think she just had her kid, Archie, and we were talking about motherhood and kid stuff, and she was very, like, open to chatting with someone she'd never met before, and I thought that was really kind of her. But I think that kindness and that coolness of her kinda shows through in the role. A lot of
Mhm.
times, I think when someone plays a role on TV for a long time, their own essence filters through and you get to see who they're really like. So that may also translate into their character changing along with the show too.
Yeah. Yeah, we've heard that from many, many people. So that's really cool. I love that.
What, that she was nice?
Mhm.
Oh, good. I like
Yeah,
that.
literally everyone. I mean, literally everyone has said that
Yeah.
it trickled down. I don't think, I mean, Maddie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've gotten one bad note about her.
No, strong leading lady, and that she set the tone for the rest of the cast,
Yeah,
right? That we're going
that's
to be
how.
positive,
Yep.
happy people.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
And Mike
And
Schur's whole thing, his kind of MO is no assholes. I've heard him say that many a time on all, like, that's the rule. That's the only rule on all of my shows. No assholes. The end.
I think that that
I
is a
love that.
great rule. And,
Yes.
some shows, even shows that last a long time, people are miserable coming to the set because there's an
Mhm.
asshole who has to be heard every day.
So you said it was like a couple days of shooting?
I think it was 3 or 4 because
Wow.
Mm.
the concert scene took a long time.
It was
Usually when you have
basically the
all
whole
that.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah, the moving parts of any kind of crowd scene, you have extras, you have music, you have, you know, and I think maybe, just maybe, they weren't sure what that was gonna be yet, that whole concert scene, so I feel like we did that for a couple days, but I really don't remember.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, going back to that improv line too, I really love that you said the Tammy stinks part because that was when I watched it, I just loved that we hadn't met Tammy too yet, first of
Yeah.
all.
Mhm.
So
You hadn't met any Tammys, had
yeah,
you?
no,
No.
no
No.
Tammys. So we really had no idea what was going on with Nick's or Ron's, love life.
That's
Right.
yeah.
But I loved that Tammy's sister was just very straightforward, kind of just like low key mellow. And so it's like the theater of the mind. It's like she's either going to be totally mellow like her and Ron's crazy, or she's going to be so far the
Crazy.
opposite, or
Right.
like, which that's what ended up happening. But that was
Yes.
really, I loved that. And it was just like very dry humor of, yeah, Tammy stinks.
Well, that's also the thing with being a guest star when you don't know what the character is. You have to be very careful not to make some crazy choices. And I was still pretty early in my career where I wouldn't have the guts to go, "Hey, tell me what you want from this character because I don't know. I can't tell from the lines."
Mhm.
Now I'd be like, "Do you want me to be super dry and deadpan and kinda, BB Newirth and Cheers or whatever, or do you want me to just be a normal girl?" Which is
Yeah.
kinda how I played it. I just played it like, "Here I am. I'm on
Yeah.
a date. Yeah, my sister sucks.
Yeah.
Sorry about that." You know?
Yeah.
Um but I had to just kinda go with, the worst thing to do on television is overact, I think, because it's very easy to clock that, and everybody was being very normal and natural on the set anyway. I mean, I think Jenny and John Raffio were the over the top people, but they had a lot of people who were just kinda, "Here, I like money," or whatever their values were. It wasn't about climbing over the top of a mountain to the nth level of that character. They were just being that person.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I find it so fascinating that you were there for multiple days to see that, really, because so many guest stars that we've talked to were only there for a day, maybe sometimes even a couple of
Sometimes a
hours.
couple
You know what I
hours.
mean?
Yep.
Because it was such a well oiled machine. And so they knew what they were doing. And
And
that
they
was,
save money that way.
well, yeah.
The whole now this is a different beef I have, but when I first started acting, there was a guest star, there was a co-star, and then there's background. Then somehow became a contractually new thing called a one-day guest star, where you get paid less than half, but you get the same billing. The character could have equal importance, but you're not making as much money.
Hmm.
And that became sort of like all writers were sort of urged, I think, to create one-day guest stars instead of having people be around a lot.
Mm.
And that has made it really hard for those of us who are sort of the yeoman actors filling out. I've done over 100 guest stars, and now I make so little money compared to back then when there wasn't a one-day guest star.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is partly just, as we're seeing the machine of the world is all about saving money for the top tier. And doing a one-day guest star is one of those things that helped the money
Hmm.
not filter down to those of us who would just like to feed our kids and stuff. And so now you have to do a lot of one-day guest stars to get your health insurance, to pay for life. And by the grace of God, I've been able to do that, or baby Jesus, or I don't know who it is.
Whoever the
Somebody is
universe has
allowing me to do
appointed.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. One of those guys or girls up there. But
Well, yeah, and then when you think about like the percentages of your agent, your manager, like whatever other team you might have, and yeah, it's a lot.
you can go to McDonald's and get a quarter pounder with cheese. You can do that, But although I don't go to McDonald's, and I used to as a kid, I used to have a quarter pounder with cheese, large fries, a large Coke, and a vanilla milkshake.
Wow,
Can you
large,
believe
big
that?
spender.
I could not eat that amount of food now. Anyway, long story short, the one-day job is kind of par for the course now, especially like with a 3-camera sitcom, because you have to be there on the day of shooting. Usually it's a 3-day job because they'll plug you into your scene halfway through the week. So that's nice. But for these single camera comedies, they can definitely use you for a couple hours, get your thing banged out, and you're gone.
Well, and for this one, for your role particularly, I mean, since the Rock show was pretty much 80% of the
Concert.
80% of the episode, it's like, and it was mockumentary. They talked about that with The Office too. Like sometimes Stanley would be in the background and not having really anything to do, but they wanted to create that environment. So, I mean, and does that mean that you were getting the one-day pay at that time, or were you paid every day that you were there? I would think every day, right?
No,
Or do you
I
remember?
was paid at
Or
a
was it just a flat
lesser
rate?
I was paid at, I mean, not that we want to talk about my salary, but it was
You
because
don't have
it
to
was,
say exact numbers.
yeah,
I'm just curious about the
I
logistics.
think that ultimately, because there were multiple days, it ended up to be about a one-day guest star because
Okay.
of how it was contractually done. But yeah, I was in the background a lot, sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
And then they took video of us dancing, and I was like, how does this chick dance? And I was just doing the little like fists in the air.
I had a question about that. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, do you remember dancing with Nick Offerman, and what was that like?
It was just weird because I hadn't, most of the time you are flying by the seat of your pants. They have too many other things to worry about Stephanie playing Tammy's prettier younger sister. So I was like, okay, is she a terrible like white girl dancer? Is that what it is? And I was like, yeah, she doesn't really know how to dance. So it's kind of like that kind of thing, which is nothing like how I dance at all. I was largely just sort of left to myself, and
It looked really funny. That's why they didn't say anything, because they didn't need to give you any
and
notes.
also why they kept it. You can easily clip out anything anybody does. I could have ended up being almost a complete nothing burger, but the fact that they kept Tammy Stinks and my dumb dancing makes me very happy.
Yeah, and that you had a scene with Nick. They could have easily cut that too. I mean, people have
they
been cut for
'cause
less.
it wasn't really about him, It wasn't about him. But I think they were on to the fact that his character had legs, at that point.
Yeah, and building the community of Pawnee. That was what Parks did so well, was making these
Absolutely.
citizens come out and seeing who exactly the relationships are between each of these individual characters and who their relationships are to the main characters. I thought that was really well done.
And then they kept adding more and more people into the community, and they could be a little weirder, or I'm trying to think of the guys who worked at the animal rescue and stuff like that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
What was that, Maddie?
They're so funny.
They are
they're just
so
like
funny.
high all the time and don't know what they're doing.
And then when you watch the show, you're kind of like, oh, those guys. And, it's just like family. They
Totally.
created a family on television.
Yes. Well, Harris Whittles, one of the animal control guys, rest in peace as well, was a writer and producer on the show.
He was a producer.
He was a huge backbone of why the comedy was as brilliant as it was. I mean, incredible.
Oh, please tell me about that, because I don't know a lot about that. I just know he passed.
Yeah. I mean, him and Alan Yang, I think, obviously along with Mike Schur, wrote so many of the beginning episodes and were just such a presence in the writer's room. And Harris is just doing research and stuff. He started out with the Sarah Silverman show. Like she, really picked him up. And I mean, he was already amazing, but he wasn't famous yet. And I think she really saw something in him. He was doing like a bunch of stand-up and stuff. And then he continued on in this comedy world. He invented the word humble brag. I mean, he was just kind of a genius.
Yeah. Quirky genius.
It was amazing. So I think having him on the show too was really fun and kind of created and continued that legacy of having the writers be on the show as well every now and again, obviously, not all the time. So that was really interesting. But yeah, we have such reverence for Harris. He's incredible and did such great work.
Yeah. And I feel like the show had no egos.
Yeah. 100%.
Because you can just tell. Everyone was just having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Rob Lowe on there.
Oh my gosh.
Just having fun.
Incredible. I love that. Yes. And I mean, also I was going to say too, one of my notes in this one, and I don't know if you guys would have any sort of notes as well, but this reminded me of how I wasn't like a super fan of Andy at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of rude, and I was like, Andy,
gross.
He's funny, but I was like, really?
Yeah.
That changed. You saw he was like lying to Anne too, right here in this episode. You're like, okay, he doesn't deserve her. He's using her. You're like, I don't really know if I like this guy, but they saw potential in him to keep him, right? Because there had to be a drive to keep him when, like, the audience, it was hard to love him at that point. And he becomes very lovable. But
sure, and then he finds the perfect foil in Aubrey Plaza because she's kind of weird, and you're like, ew, sometimes, and it's kind of a perfect match.
Yeah, lovable is the word that I use too. I don't think he was lovable yet,
but
he was still funny.
It was funny. We were just like a freeloading goober,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. Like, he's not very smart, but he seems to do okay.
Right.
He has one of the best improv lines in the entire series as well.
I agree.
With his Leslie, I just typed in your symptoms into Google, and it says you have network connectivity problems.
Was that his improv?
That was his improv.
I wonder sometimes how many were written down by producers and like say that, because they do that a lot. When I worked on, oh gosh, what is the show with Stephen Root? Why can't I remember anything about the radio station? It's before your time, ladies.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Anyway, the producers were always like writing stuff down and handing pieces of papers to us to say this time. And it would be really fun because we had no idea what kind of response we would get.
Right. Totally.
News radio.
Okay.
You guys would love that show.
Oh my gosh. I'm circling back to Pratt because one of the things that I recorded the band names. This was iconic. I totally forgot about this. All of the band names. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to play it for you really fast.
Yes, please do. Please do.
The band has had a few different names over the years. We were Teddy Bear Suicide, but then we changed it to Mouse Rat. Then we were God Hates Figs, Two Doors Down, Department of Homeland Obscurity. Then we were Three Skin, Just the Tip, Flames for Flames, Muscle Confusion, Nothing Rhymes with Orange, then Everything Rhymes with Orange, Andy Dwyer Experience, AD and the D-Bags, the Andy's, Radwagon, Five Skin, Four Skin, Nothing Rhymes with Bill Orange, Death of a Scam Artist, Razor Dick, Puppy Pendulum, Possum Pendulum, Penis Pendulum, Handrail Suicide, Angel Snack, Jet Black Pope, Punch Face Champions, Ninja Dick. We went back to Mouse Rat, and now we are Scarecrow Boat. God, when I hear myself say Scarecrow Boat out loud, I kind of hate it.
So many penis names. That
So
was
many.
he was very penis oriented character.
Yeah.
But Mouse Rat's
I
still my
loved it.
favorite.
Yeah.
I have a T-shirt that my brother got me for Christmas one year with every single one of those names on it,
No way.
and it has them crossed out until they get back to Mouse Rat at the bottom.
That's
It's great.
genius. Where did he
I
find
know.
that, or did he have it made for you?
I'm sure it was Amazon.
Yeah. I have one
Yeah.
that says treat yourself.
Yes,
We
they have
need
so
that one,
much
Holly.
merch. We do need that one. Oh my god, my favorite is Ninja Dick.
Now, I want to know if Chris made those names up or if everybody made those names up. I have no idea, but
I know they
That
said.
was-
Well, when I remember it. They said some of them were made up. Some of them he just were keeping on going. But I don't think. I think the majority of them were written.
yeah.
But yeah, I think he threw in a couple. Oh my god, it's so
Can
funny.
you imagine how much laughing went on in the writer's room and
Oh
stuff?
my gosh.
That's to me, that's the shit, as they say, because if you can have fun doing your job, you have
Yeah.
reached the pinnacle of doing something you love and laughing your head off and having a great time.
Totally.
That is what I want. I don't know if everybody wants that. I honestly,
Yeah.
I don't care if I get to be super famous, although it would be nice, but I would like to have fun every day when I come to work and then also make
Yeah.
a paycheck that I can live
Totally.
off
That's
of.
the dream. That's
Yeah.
what a dream.
Like, I wonder if
Yeah.
Chris Pratt is having as much fun now that he's super action hero guy as he was
Mm.
having back then. I don't know. We
Yeah,
will
who's
never
to
know.
say?
Yeah.
So did you get to interact with Nick Offerman a lot? Like, how was that?
He was kind of, I was not really, it was so loud. I remember just not
Mm.
feeling like I could talk to anybody. I could just talk to Amy in the trailer. There was just too much going on. And I wanted to make sure that I heard when I needed to do something. Like, you
Mhm.
have to be, where's the director? Where's the first AD? You kind of have to pay attention more to being in the right place at the right time and not causing problems when there's so many moving pieces. That's my job. So I have to do that
Mm.
first and not screw it up. So I cannot say that I had much interaction with him at all, frankly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
That's
makes
fair
sense
enough.
with how busy
Yeah.
it was, right? Like
It was
with
very
all the
busy. They have
sets.
a lot of cameras, a lot of characters, music, extras, stuff going on. It's not like the thing a guest star learns, and this is a hard lesson, is it's not about you. It's usually about the series regulars, and it's about getting the show done. So the more
Mm.
you can just be quiet and do your job, maybe if you're lucky backstage or, at the craft service table, you can have a chat with somebody and get to know them. That's the gravy. And that's, for me, the gravy was talking to Amy in the trailer because she was really
Yeah.
cool, and
Do you
they
remember where that was shot? Like,
somewhere
was
in
it
the
on set?
valley. I remember it being pretty freaking hot, but I don't remember it was in the valley. So
Okay.
it was just in a bunch of like built sets.
Okay. I feel like I should have looked that up. So it wasn't an
I sh-
actual set, though.
No,
Or, sorry, it
we
wasn't an
weren't in
actual
some
like bar.
club. I feel like they built it or they used an existing sound stage. I could be totally wrong then, and you can, Holly, write.
I'll Google it.
He was wrong. Why is she so stupid?
I'm pretty positive. No, I'm pretty positive I had known this answer when I first researched it, but
Yeah.
I'll look that up again. So I was just curious what you remember of it. But I mean, it looked real, so that's good.
Yeah, and I'm sure their budget went up as they were more and more successful. So they had to probably stay on the sound stages to save money too.
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah, totally. And a lot of times it would be because it was that mockumentary style. I feel like a lot of times they did film in actual places.
Yes.
But yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, there was a bar scene too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it was supposed to be the club.
Yeah, it was. It was
Yeah.
Leslie
Okay.
and Mark together.
And I remember that being not where the club was. Like the bar was a different set.
Yeah.
So,
And speaking of Leslie and Mark, I found that also to be like I love Mark, and I definitely am a Ben stan. I'm not like Mark should have stayed in the presence of Ben too.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been cool if they could have brought him back or whatever, but that just never happened. And I understand. Looking
Well,
back at it now, I totally get it.
yeah, and also he may have gone on to do other things. I don't know the trajectory of his career, but people get busy and they're, if you are Like even with me not doing my character later, if that changes, you just got to put on your big girl panties and go, I'm on to the next thing, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So he may have started doing films. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he left for a specific reason, like on his end, but yeah,
Yeah, but
he
it just
absolutely
happened.
moved on. He
Yeah.
did do stuff,
Yeah.
and it was never. But the reason I'm saying that is because I was. Like I said, I liked Mark, but looking at this one, I'm like, oh no, he's just a horn dog. He just wants to like fuck everybody this season. And I was like, oh no. Like he hit on
Yeah.
Anne, and then when he couldn't get Anne, he got Leslie. And I was
We
like,
don't want Leslie to be with someone like that.
no, and
No.
that's why we want Leslie to be with someone a little bit more passionate about what they're
Yeah.
doing. And also not only that, but I mean, because I get that every character has to have their trajectory with what they're doing in their development of their career
Right.
as the character.
Mhm.
But also I was really proud of Leslie at the end for being like, no, I don't want it to happen like this. I don't want to make
She
out with
always
you.
was doing stuff like that where
Yeah, of
you were like,
course.
good. Yeah. You know, that kind of
hold the
thing.
standard.
You
I
know, where she was not
know.
giving in to the lesser needs of the human being and trying to fight for higher level things. That's why I loved the show, because in a tiny way, she was like Galentine's Day. That's a thing we can do, you know? And I feel like that's missing from a lot of shows. Just simple triumphs over the lesser evils of human beings, you know? That kind of thing.
Well, and then Mark falls down in the pit, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he gets
exactly.
his, so
Into the pit you go. That was
Yeah,
a symbol if
exactly.
ever there was one.
Yes, and speaking of symbols too, I mean, we just reviewed Doppelgangers, which is in season 6, which is when Anne is about to leave, and they're using that chair, that green chair that Mark and Leslie are sitting on. It's like a little bench thing that she now has in her city council office.
Mhm.
And I just thought that was so symbolic and beautiful and just such a nostalgia moment where to see how far she's come and everything. That was so, so lovely. I loved
Yeah.
it.
I feel like there's a lot of sweetness in the show. And that's what I really respond to.
it's definitely, you're definitely right about that. I think it's the same creators as The Office, but The Office definitely, especially the first season, is hard to watch. There weren't a lot of
Yeah.
boundaries. And it's more like we're in an office place where none of us want to be every day. And we have to be with these people. So how are we going to make it work when we have to be with these people, except for this one sad man who thinks all of these people are his family? And then you come here and everybody does feel like family. And Leslie drives it home a little bit harder than everybody else, but they all love her and they do those sweet things for her, like building her little gingerbread office and helping her run for city council and all these things. So it's just more heartwarming and soft. And
I think the world needs that. I mean, the
Absolutely.
TV world has gotten, I've watched it over, oh my God, 25 years now, go from having more of that to more violence and more kind of, it's cool to not feel anything or care about anybody. And it's more flashy to not do that, which is, I think, precisely why the Emmys didn't lean that way, because it's not a flashy show. Not at all. Although it really created careers for a lot of people, which is a big feat, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
that's
love
funny that you
that.
mentioned that. I've never thought about that, but you look back and like the shows that my mom had me watching that she watched as a kid were like Brady Bunch, Petticoat Junction, like these really nice homey family shows. And now we have just a bunch of like spy and cop
And murder. There's
blow
always
the
a
things
murder.
up. Yeah, true crime.
I'm different. I don't like murder.
I love
God
when people
forbid.
live. Yeah.
My mom is 98 years old and she likes to read murder
Wow.
mysteries. And I'm like, Mom, I don't want to think about people being murdered. Maybe
I
I'm
know.
hypersensitive, but I would rather watch people like worship a little donkey, than try to figure out who murdered all these women or whatever.
He's a miniature horse, Stephanie.
Sorry. Oops, sorry. I may not get all my details right because the first time I binge watched, I think I had pneumonia or something. But
Oh
it's
my
a great
gosh.
show to watch when you're sick.
So
I
good.
have to
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And so you knew Heather McFall? How did you
Yes.
guys meet?
Heather and I, okay, Heather and I met in an acting class online, and we both quit the class at the same time for the same reason. And then I was like, hey, I think we should be friends. And
Yeah.
then we decided that we would start making stuff. So she had a script that she wrote. It was very elaborate, so it would have taken a lot of dollars to make. And I said, we should make this, but downscale it so we can shoot it. And it's basically, and this is not a new idea, but our version of it is a little different. It's called Lady Invisible, and it's about how
Okay.
when you hit a certain age, suddenly nobody sees you anymore. And we are both in our
Mhm.
careers kind of going, what happened? The roles for women over 40 go bloop, and then your role choices go from being victim lady to being old bitch. It's just kind of like creepy and not reflecting the real world. So we literally did a crowdfunding. We both hated it, but we did it. And we made this movie that we put in festivals, and it got in festivals. It's called Lady Invisible, and we did it together. And she's sort of like I'm the piglet to her poo, that kind of thing.
Aw.
Although
I love that.
she thinks I'm a cross between Piglet and Eeyore, so I'm Peor, which is not such a good name, but I'll take it. I don't care. But
That's cute.
we're both smart women who also write and are creative, who are dealing with a business that is really volatile and somewhat scary for women, I think, at times. So
Mhm.
we have bonded through that world.
Yes, female friendships are just the most important thing, especially if you're going through the same thing at the same time. Like, it's so important, I love that. You
Which
have
is
the
what
resource.
Parks and Rec is about. Like,
Mhm.
the female friendships are crucial in that show. Not so much
Totally.
guys punching each other in the dick and stuff like that.
Well, and it's always nice to have an actor friend too that you can kind of rant to and just be like, what the fuck was that? Why did that happen? Or,
Yeah.
yay, that did happen. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. It's just like, it's really important.
Yeah, you can't have enough of that, really, because it's either that or a really good therapist.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
you need any
Absolutely.
support you
both.
can get, because it is cruel. It is not a female centric world, even though there was a lot of mouthing about, yeah, we're going to make this a better world for women and more women directors. It's still a slog, and it's still the statistics are awful. I
Are
hope
you guys making anything now?
Well, there is a script that I wrote, and we both have a very dark sense of humor. So I will describe it to someone. They'll go, ugh. And I'm like, no, but really, it'll be funny and interesting and weird. That we've been banding about, but I was working on Bosch and the strikes and the fires now. There's a lot of things that have kind of messed up the world of show business for a lot of people. And intrinsically, the issue for making your own product, your content, is money. You need money. If I want to make this short film, I want to always hire the best DP, the best, lighting guy, sound guy. I have a little team that I've used multiple times. I want to pay them money. I don't want to make people work for free. I will work for free. But I feel like in order to make the product look good and sound good, you need to actually transfer money. So that's kind of what's holding us back, and also just time.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's so hard to make your own
If
stuff.
I was a bazillionaire, I'd be making shit all the time. It would be so much
Of course.
fun.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Because
Well,
I
I'm so
actually,
glad.
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
I
I
was
was
just
just going
saying,
to talk about Heather.
talk about Heather.
Well, I was just going to say I'm glad that she got that scene, or that we got to actually see her full scene, because that's one of the things that I love about the show, and by this show I mean the podcast, because I watch all the deleted scenes and I make sure that the actors who had cut scenes actually get heard on our podcast.
Yes.
Which I know that, of course, there's like we already talked about this. There's so many reasons for it to be cut. And hers in particular was a montage. So it does show her face. But many people got cut. It wasn't just her.
Oh, it's
and
brutal.
so Yeah, so it wasn't even that, but I play every single deleted scene because I'm always like, you guys worked so fucking hard. You deserve to have your scene at least heard. I know I probably can't show it like on social media or whatever, but like me personally, but I want you to hear it. So yeah.
I love that because it is really heartbreaking. A couple years ago I shot a Denzel Washington movie where I played the mother of a girl who was disappeared, presumably dead, and I had this long monologue about her hair ribbon, and it was extremely hard and good, I thought, and they cut it out completely. And I think you
Oh my
basically see
gosh.
me looking droopy in the cop's office and maybe for a split second somewhere else, and I'm like, oh my god.
I know.
You do that and you're like, okay, I get it, wasn't essential to the lead characters, and it happens all the time. That's why often if I shoot something, I don't tell anyone. I don't tell my mommy. I don't tell anyone until it's like confirmed that I'm in the episode. And a lot
Yeah.
of times, if it's a big part, it could end up very tiny. You just don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And I'm glad you helped Heather. Heather got to see that thing that she did.
Yeah. She messaged me after and was like, where did you even find that? And I was like, the DVDs, baby girl. I have all the DVDs.
You trained her.
But yeah, it's really lovely. One of my friends who I am an actor friend with, she had to do I won't say her name just because I don't know if she wants me to tell the story, but basically she had to join SAG because she was in a thing, so she paid all this money and then they
Right,
cut
the
her.
dues, and they cut
And-
her.
Yep.
Was it a TV show or was it a movie?
Commercial.
A commercial. Oh, commercials,
I
it's even more brutal because
That's
know.
if they
awful.
just see your face, you get paid. If they don't, you don't.
But yeah. So, well, I have a quick question though. What were you doing before Parks? Like, what kind of do you remember? Like, were you
Oh my
doing
God.
TV, theater,
Can
or
we look?
both?
I need to look up my IMDb. What does it say on IMDb? I mean, I can look at. No, I can't. I can't do that right now. I can do it on my
I guess I'm
phone.
just curious, like, what your mindset was too. Were you auditioning all the time?
Okay, what year was it that we? Do you know the year that episode was?
2009?
2013.
Oh,
Okay.
13?
Or what
my,
was
so
it?
far
my
off.
trajectory into Hollywood was very strange. I was doing theater in New York. I was doing regional theater.
Oh,
and I-
sorry, 2009. I'm sorry, 2009.
Okay. So things were going very well at that point. I moved to LA from New York with no agent, no friends, no nothing. It was very weird of me. And I had taken this acting class that was about the business of acting, which are now they're much more prevalent than they used to be. But the teacher wanted you to make a list of goals of things you wanted to do. And one of mine was do Star Trek because I was a Trekkie. And one of mine was to
Mhm.
work with Peter Weir or Jeff Bridges. And Jeff Bridges wasn't even like a marquee star like he is now, but I just always liked him. And I loved Peter Weir as a director. So I went to LA and I was a nanny for celebrities, which is a terrible, awful, soul sucking job. And I felt like I'm never going to get anywhere. I'm never going to do anything. But one of the things I did do was there was a script. One of the ladies I nannied for, who was a sort of B plus level movie star, said I could read all her scripts when the kid had gone to bed. And there was one script on the coffee table that had her appointment slip in it, and it said she was meeting the director at his hotel. And it gave the location of the hotel. But the director was Peter Weir, this man on my wish list. Like, that's weird. I got goosebumps and I was like, why is the universe showing me where Peter Weir is staying? So I went to my shitty apartment, which I shared with two other people that have mold growing in the walls. And I made my boyfriend put on a suit and I wrote a letter for Peter Weir, and I put my headshot in this envelope, and he drove it to the super fancy hotel in his suit and gave it to the concierge. And I don't know how much time we have. It's a long story. I'll try to make it quickly. When I went back to my babysitting job, she said, "It's so weird. Your headshot was on Peter Weir's desk." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I reached out to him. I didn't want to make it like I was doing something bad, but I also thought I have no film and TV credits other than Unsolved Mystery playing the slutty babysitter in a murder case in Ohio. So I was like, he's never gonna. I just wanted to have made some kind of weird effort. And then I wrote a thank. I was excited to hear he got it because it didn't end up in the circular file. So I wrote another little card, and I was like, so excited you saw my headshot. Maybe someday I'll meet you in the future. And I had my husband deliver that. So, I thought nothing happened, but that was like a win for me.
Well,
Then
you
I-
always hear those stories too.
yeah,
Go ahead.
and it's harder to do now because people are
Mm.
harder to get to.
Right,
So,
absolutely.
and then my agent, who wasn't really my agent, they were hip pocketing me, which is what people did when they didn't want to sign you, but if you got something, they wanted to take your money, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm,
They were like,
mm-hmm.
called me one day and went, Howard Fuhr wants to meet you for this huge movie called Fearless that Peter Weir is directing. And I'm like, oh shit. So, and I was ballsy and stupid. I had written in my letter, I want to read for these 3 roles in the script. I asked for the roles I wanted to read for, and they were all very different. But I was like,
Was this the same script that the babysitter lady had?
yes.
Or is this a different? Oh, okay.
No,
okay,
no.
okay.
That's where I got the whole. I read the script and I went, I could play Lisa the flight attendant. I could play the rental car agency lady. I forget the other one was a network executive. I wasn't quite old enough to play the airline network executive, but they were all women with small enough parts that I thought a nobody could read for. And I wasn't looking to get cast. I just wanted to have an audition for a movie,
Right.
So I went into Warner Brothers, scared shitless, to read for Howard Fuhr. I read all 3 characters. I made them all different. And he kind of looked at me like, who are you? And he shook his head and he went, well, it's nice to meet you. And I left. And I didn't hear anything and I didn't hear anything. And then I got another call from my agent. Peter Weir wants to meet you.
Oh my God.
Well, I know it's just nuts. And I'm like really scared at this point because I don't know what I'm doing. I only played the slutty babysitter on Unsolved Mysteries. And I showed up on Warner Brothers lot. It was me in a room with Peter Weir holding a handheld camera. One of the roles had already been cast. The flight attendant and the rental car agency girl were the only ones left. I read both of them. This time I sent a thank you to the same fancy hotel because I was like, you blew my mind. This was a dream come true. I wasn't. And then a month later, they offered me the job of Lisa, the flight attendant, who worked more than any of the other characters. And that was my big first job. So that was 2002, 2000, no, more like 2004. I don't know. You guys are going to have to look it up. But
What was
not
the movie called?
Fearless with Jeff
Oh,
Bridges and Isabella Rossellini and Rosie Perez.
okay.
And John Delancey, and I played Lisa
93.
the flight attendant.
Yeah, that was 1993.
Yeah, so that was my first job.
Oh
So
my God.
So cool.
after that, and then I booked a Star Trek. So I scared
Amazing.
the crap out of myself because I was like, those were the top 10 I'll never get in my whole life, these jobs,
That is nuts.
It is nuts, and it makes me believe there's
Amazing.
something to manifesting, but also then I started feeling pressure of making stuff happen, and I needed to, I didn't book stuff for a while. And then around 96, I think, then I started working more. And really, you find out you can show up in Hollywood with all these goals of like, I want to do a sitcom, but really you just go where the doors open. So
Yeah.
I was playing victims. I was very good at victims on dramas. And then occasionally then I would start working on sitcoms, and it would just go in these weird little trajectories to, I was doing this, I was doing that, and then I ended up doing Parks and Rec. And I have no idea how I ended up there. I was just
That is so
auditioning for
cool.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think, especially when you're younger, too, I mean, it's just like you have that kind of energy and naivety that you're just like, whatever, why not? Why literally not?
Yeah.
And
Now
I
I'd
feel
be
like as you get older,
terrified.
you're like,
Yeah.
no, that's I can't do that. That's really messed up. Like, and the learning, like you said, the industry's changing too. Like what's right, what's wrong. Yeah. So I mean, that's amazing.
Well, I mean,
story.
I love the guy who, okay, why can't I remember anything? The guy who directed he does all the horror stuff, and he has Life of Chuck out. What's his name? You guys know.
I
Anyway,
don't
he's a
know.
director.
We can Google it though.
Google it right now. Life of Chuck director, so I can use his name.
Mike Flanagan?
Mike Flanagan. I love his
Okay.
work. I love his work. Okay.
Okay.
I'm walking in an airport in Newark, and there's Mike Flanagan right next to me. It was COVID times. I have a mask on. He's with his wife, who's in a lot of his movies, and I'm like, "Are you Mike Flanagan?" For my mask. I'm 7 years of an actress. I love your work. You know, it's a lot harder to do that without seeming like a crazy person, because there's the internet. And I even reached out to him on Instagram, and he had his assistant write me back. Then I saw him again at a puppet show. So I'm like, why is the universe throwing Mike Flanagan in my face? You have to kind of wonder. I do really love his work. And I don't even like all horror stuff. His is just really based in something extra human, which makes the horror even more horrible. And so I just feel like if you see someone and you're not a creep or a psycho and you'd like to work with them, letting them know is not something bad, but maybe bothering them after they have not responded to you is not a good idea. So I've let Mike Flanagan alone now, hoping
Okay.
that someday I will walk into an audition and he's sitting there, you know.
Look, it's in the universe now, so.
Yeah, it is. And it's a sincere, like, a lot of people will pretend they love your work just because you're famous. I won't do that, because if I think you suck, I don't want to work with you. And my dad was a classical musician, and I would see this happen again and again in the classical world. There are people who are not nice in the classical music world. There are people who are flying by not their abilities, but other things. Now, the key, though, is you can't fake playing a violin. You have to at least know how to do it. So it's a lot harder. There are people who can't really act very well, but they're really good in TV playing themselves. But then there are people who are really good at doing a lot of things, and those are the people I want to work with. The people who think really hard about a script being not just funny, but humanitarian, which is, I think, what Amy and the gang were doing over at Parks and Rec.
Totally.
Whether they set out to do that or not, that's what they did.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh. Well, I love that so much. I'd like to ask people if you had to choose like a top 5 of the episodes that you like of Parks and Rec especially, but you know how with The Office you pick a couple of episodes that, like, if you're new to The Office, which episodes would you give them? A lot of people choose like Dinner Party.
Right.
I'm curious what yours would be for Parks.
Stop pooping.
That's
I
a
hate to
great
say
one.
it, but it's
Flu
classic.
season, great one.
Yeah, I don't even know the title, so I apologize for that. But
Oh no, that's good.
yeah,
You know exactly what
that's
you're talking
probably
about.
my number one. Mostly because as I said, I did watch the show. It was my kid who made me binge it, because I don't watch a lot of television because I'm on television, and that it kind of makes it harder to watch unless something really captivates me. And my kid said, you should really watch Parks and Rec. You need to watch it. So I watched it when I was sick, and the stop pooping episode is just quintessential. Like, when you feel sick, it's like, please stop it.
I know.
And
That episode has such great character work.
It
that's
does,
exactly
yeah.
it too. How each character responds to what's going on is brilliant, I think.
I love that. What about you, Maddie? Do you have one?
Oh, that's a great question.
You haven't asked her before now?
Yeah, we've never talked about this.
Well,
No.
I'm excited.
We
to
always
hear.
say, like, what's your favorite episode or who's your favorite character? But, like, I was just thinking about that recently. Like, if someone was new to Parks, what would be the episode that
Watch
you would show
this.
them?
Yes.
And I feel like it's hard. I feel like Harvest Festival is a great place to start.
Yes.
That's one of my, that was one that was circulating in my brain.
But there's a lot of
It's
there's
like
a lot of
with
good
Doctor
ones.
Who, you say, watch, don't blink.
Totally.
That kind of thing. Or whatever it's called. I call it don't blink.
I also love the Bachelorette episode.
Yeah.
And because you get to see each guy in their element. And so I think
Yes.
it's a really good introduction to all the characters there too.
Yeah.
I really love that episode.
Great. Yeah, that's
Stress
a great
Relief
call.
is my one for The Office. The one where Dwight sets it on fire.
That's a good one. Yeah, that was good.
Holly, what about yours then?
Well, for parks, I feel like, yeah, Harvest Festival would be probably like a good entry point. I guess favorite episode thus far. I just have such a special place in my heart for Smallest Park, because it's Ben and Leslie finally like deciding to say screw it, let's just be together kind of vibes. I love that so much. But yeah, I mean, I think I need to
rewatch
like,
all
top
of them
5.
now. You guys have got me like, I'm going to do it again. I did it twice all the way through, and that is not something I mean, I loved Severance. I didn't watch it twice all the way through.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not comparing them as shows, but like if a
I
show
know.
captures me, I'll be like, okay, I can't turn this off. But it takes a lot.
Severance is so good. Oh my God.
It's so good. And
Yeah,
we need
and seeing
more.
Adam Scott in this role is so nuts. I love it so much. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's brilliant, and it just really unexpected. And we have so many remakes of things now. I'm just bored.
Yeah,
I don't need to watch,
I know the remakes
I don't need
are...
to watch something that, I mean, I know some people like it, and I just don't need to watch another Spider-Man or anything like that, unless, I don't know.
I know, I hear you. I wish it was a little bit mixture of both.
Yeah.
But right now we're definitely leaning towards, and it goes back to your point that we talked about before of like capitalism, and just like that's how they can make money is nostalgia. You know what I mean?
They know people will line up for that. And sometimes, I thought a lot of the remakes have been really wonderful and good and interesting. But, the reason Severance kind of blows your mind is you're like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Totally.
What is this? And there were a lot of new faces, which I really appreciate too. They may not necessarily be truly new faces, but to me they were. And I really appreciate that. God bless Nicole Kidman, but I've seen that face. Maybe she could take a vacation. Sorry, Nicole.
Oh my gosh.
Please put me in one of your movies.
Yes, really.
She's a busy girl. She's a busy girl.
Oh my gosh.
And I often wonder why Amy isn't doing another series. Maybe she just, do you guys have any inkling? Maybe she just
right now. I
been
mean,
there, done that.
She's also busy with her production company that produces a lot of series. I don't know why she herself isn't doing it, but right now she's doing the podcast Good Hang with Amy, and it's so good.
Oh, I need to listen to that then.
It's so good. She has a lot of Parks people on the episode too, which is so nice.
Is it just comedy, or is there some underlying mission of that?
It's comedy. Yeah. Her mission is to just like bring some happiness to people in this time of everything
chat
going
with friends.
haywire. Yeah, it's Good Hang, and it's a lot of friends, and it's just really fun. And she asks deep questions. It's not that she doesn't get deep, but it is it's great. She asks a lot of good stuff.
Good, I will listen to that.
She was also touring with Tina Fey for a little bit, and I think that probably was why she wasn't doing like TV.
Well, also to get on that TV ride now is probably a lot less fun, because it's really about squishing everything into 8 episodes, doing it fast, doing it cheap, and that's a different world than it was that back then,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
And I get the vibe that she's not going to do anything unless she like is going to have so much fun doing it, which is why I think that she's doing the tour and the podcast, because those are the things that like bring her joy.
Yeah, no, and she can choose to do that.
But I would love to see a show with her. I'd watch it in a heartbeat.
I would too.
Yeah.
Holly and I don't blame her for not wanting to get into that at this point. What were you going to say, Maddie?
Well, I was just saying that Holly and I have been talking about recently that there's just so much to watch. Like, it's like there's just too many options. It's like, what do I spend my time watching? But don't you feel like the quality level is not as good because there's so much? I think it's harder to find good TV shows. I would say nothing that I've watched recently is like Parks and Rec, Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine level to me.
Yeah,
but that's my vibe is those shows.
And no shows are given the leeway to create that over time, which is a problem. And there's a lowest common denominator thing, which is the violence, which is, stuff that's more sensational and special effects and stuff. I just feel like to have a Severance come up more frequently would make me so happy.
I'm in a really good TV space right now, actually.
Oh, good.
I I know. So I'm excited to talk about it. I've been catching up on Stranger Things, which is so good. I've been catching up on The Bear, so good, in my opinion. Abbott Elementary is my like comedy thing right now. That is obviously on hold until I think the fall, but they're probably going to wrap it up soon because it's been quite a few seasons now. And then Will Trent on ABC has been phenomenal. It's a procedural, but it's also like really great with comedy in addition.
And that's
to
the guy with the
the
chihuahua, right?
procedural. Yes,
Okay, yeah. I've auditioned for that show a couple times.
me too.
And I was like, I have 2 chihuahuas. I should be on that show.
Totally. So I feel like, and then I was watching something before The Bear too, but right now Modern Family has been my like comedy thing, but that's not new. Obviously, that's just like
Right.
my rewatch show. But
But that's a great
yeah,
quality show too, Modern
great
Family.
quality show.
Yeah,
So
I don't think
once
I've seen an
Abbott
episode of
leaves,
that.
I'm not sure what exactly will happen with the comedy because I think we're confused a little bit about what comedy is right now because even The
Yeah.
Bear is in the comedy
It's not a
section of the,
comedy.
and it's not.
They consider
Not a
The Bear
comedy.
comedy?
Oh yeah, it won many awards for the
Yeah,
comedy.
As a yeah, a lot of my friends
section.
in the business are kind of like, this is ridiculous. Can someone fix this,
They have
please?
funny moments, but it's not a
Yeah.
comedy.
No, I've seen the first season, and that thing's way heavier than
Yeah.
Don't
anything
you
I'd put in
find
a
also
comedy.
that waiting a long time for the next season is a detriment? Because I forget everything that happened. Like Severance was almost too
Mm.
long for me to wait
Mm.
for the
Well,
next,
I think it builds anticipation for me, and I love
or
it, but it
forgetfulness.
sucks.
Or I like
I
went
have
into that elevator and I can't remember what the show was about at all, you know?
totally. Well, I do that with books where I just finish it and I'm like, wait, who was that person again? If someone talks to me about it,
Maybe it means I have a
um,
short attention span. I don't know. Or bad
it could be.
memory.
But
The
anyhow, so yeah.
I was just gonna say the other show that I love that is coming back for another season is Ted Lasso, which I think is
Oh,
quality
yeah.
television as well.
Oh my God, Shrinking! I forgot about Shrinking. Oh my God,
I
on
have
Apple
not
TV.
Yeah, I've
watched
heard that's good.
Shrinking, so I need
Stephanie,
to
you
watch.
will really like it.
Okay.
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, it's the same people that did Scrubs that are so good with making comedy and deep moments happen. Same people that did the Ted Lasso as well.
Okay.
And those are definitely comedy, like not 80%, and then the other 20% is like very deep, dark grief happening.
Oh, cool.
So I love it. It's so
Like I
good.
say cool about grief, but you know, that's real human
Watching
stuff.
it, oh my God.
It's real.
Also,
Mhm.
if you have HBO, Somebody Somewhere, Shauna Hagan
Yes,
was a
that's on my
director.
list. That's on my list. I
It's really
definitely want
good.
to see that. Seems like my kind of thing. Lately, I go through phases. I'll either be reading novels like a maniac and not watch TV, or I'll just watch baking shows. And
Yes.
okay, and the weirdest thing I got into recently was watching this documentary about the Tour de France. Very weird. But
That'd be fun.
like it's like I don't know. I don't know why it sucked me, and I just watched one for the heck of it, and I was like, "Oh, I want to know which of these biker dudes wins this thing." And it's far more complicated and sponsor oriented, and there's so
Mhm.
many elements to it more than just riding a bike. So you know, but
Yeah.
it takes a lot. Sometimes I need total escapism for me, so I'm not like going, "Oh, I know her and that and this thing." I need to just watch people making buttercream frosting and making something pretty
Yes.
out of it, you know?
I love that so
Yes.
much. Bake Off is so calming, and I love it.
It's the best show to relax.
So good.
That
Yes.
and I also watched this YouTube show called Cruising the Cut. Have you ever heard of this?
Mm-mm.
It's a British guy who's very nerdy, who's very, you know, a little bit Monty Python, a little bit, but he has a boat on the canals in the UK, and he just chronicles his little boat rides.
Love
That's awesome.
that.
That and the British Bake Off are my 2 relaxation shows
I love
when
that.
I
Love it.
can't think about anything.
Totally. But yeah, to your point, Stephanie, you're right. I feel like the comedy portion of like what is a Parks and Rec, an equivalent of Parks and Rec, apart from Abbott, like it used to be, all of those were on the air at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right,
30 Rock, Parks
right.
and Rec, The Office, Modern
Dirty
Family. It
Rock,
was like,
yeah.
you know, but now we kind of have to choose between one or two.
1 or 2, and
Um,
one isn't even a comedy. So it's
I
like
know. So
people like right now, the crazy thing is people right now need to laugh so much. You know, I do a lot of plays, and I feel like there was a phase for the last 10 years in LA where everything was sad and dark and apocalyptic and blah blah blah, and people don't need that right now. We need to go to the theater and laugh and go, what is this crazy world I'm in right now?
Mhm.
And we need to bring that back. And I wish, is Mike Schur doing any more shows right now?
I feel like something's in development. I
Yeah,
feel like he talked
probably.
about
I mean, I
something, but
can't
I can't
believe he
remember what
wouldn't
it
have
is.
something
Right.
because he's a
Right.
big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And art imitating life and life imitating art is like, everything is indicative of where we are in the world
Yep.
as a society. So that's why it's also harder for comedy, I feel, at this moment.
Yeah, 'cause people are like, how is this funny?
Right. But yeah. Okay, so Stephanie, what is the character that you relate the most to on Parks and Rec? Like for me, it's Leslie, and for Maddie, she mostly relates to Anne, but she has Leslie moments too. What about you?
Uh,
It
I
can be. It doesn't have to be gender
I
based, by the
I
way.
feel like it could be the external me and the internal me are totally different. Like I feel
Okay.
like I'm Aubrey Plaza inside. And then I'm Retta outside sometimes, I feel
Love
like
that.
I'm a combo. I'm not using their character names because to me I look at like they both come from a body of work where they play, permutations of those characters
Mhm.
Yeah.
a lot. So that would be what I would say. And
Love that.
yeah.
Cool. And where can we find you online? You said you're doing a play now. Tell us
Yes,
everything.
I am. My Instagram is Stephanie Herb Official with hyphens in it. And I didn't pick that name. A friend of mine did. I was like, what is this Instagram? How do I use it? She's like, I'll set you up with a profile. And she picked that name and I haven't changed it. So I'm there. I'm on Facebook, which is, I know, for old people. And I don't tweet anymore. So
Same.
probably Instagram is the best place to find me. And I'm doing a play at the Road Theater in Los Angeles that opens at the end of September, where I play an adoptive mom and a dragon god.
Ooh.
Cool.
So I'm really excited about that because I have no idea what it's going to be
Wasn't
like.
ready for that
And
second pack part.
yeah, this year I did a recur on Bosch Legacy and on Suits LA, and both of those shows have been canceled. So
I know.
so
Suits LA did not last, huh? But hey,
no,
a booking's a booking.
yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I was happy to be there, and it was a great character because I got to play kind of a hard ass movie executive producer. And so I was really hoping that would come back. But like I said, they don't do with Parks and Rec. It was 8 episodes, not sure what you are, but let's give you another shot. And they did very well with the other shot. So
Mhm.
I'm just back in the audition trail, trying to
Yeah.
get trying to get a job, and going to be doing a play, which is usually good because the more you keep yourself busy as an actor, that left brain or whatever, right brain, which brain is it that tells you you're a piece of shit? That one gets that one gets really busy when you're not working. So
So hilarious.
so doing a play will help that brain be too
Have
busy to
rehearsal
keep me
started?
up. They start on the 5th, on Tuesday. And
Oh,
it's a
okay.
new play, it's a world premiere, and it's really interesting. And this is harkening back to the plays about depressing apocalyptic stuff. There may be some of that in this, but it's also really funny and really creative. So I'm happy to get on board. It's called Otherkin, by the way.
Okay, Otherkin. And when is the show? Sorry.
It opens September 26th
Okay.
at the Road Theater in it's kind of the borderline of Burbank and North Hollywood. And the cast is really wonderful. The director is really fierce. She's determined to make this a good show. And the playwright is like an up and comer. I'm kind of excited to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll look that up and post it in the show notes for people to follow along.
Cool. Thank you so much. And you know what? I can also give you the link for Lady Invisible, which Heather and I made together.
Oh, yes.
Perfect. I would love
So,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So fun. Thank you so much for doing this, Stephanie. We really appreciate your time.
It was my
Yeah.
pleasure. You guys are fabulous. And I'm so glad, I'm hoping that they will do a posthumous Emmy for Parks and Rec someday where they're like, we missed the boat. You guys
Honestly,
with us now.
so many shows could win that.
That's true.
I feel
That's
the
true.
posthumous.
Yes.
We fucked up actually. Let's
Yeah.
go back.
Because they get in a rut. Well, the same show wins every year because everyone loves it and it's safe. But I feel like that was a mistake.
Agreed.
Parks deserves all the awards.
All the awards, every single one, and $50 million for Amy.
Yay!
Yes.
And I'm
Okay.
so glad that you are a fan too.
Yeah.
That's so
Now that's why I
nice.
wanted to be on this show, because I was like, oh, I'm always like mad about the Emmy thing. And so I got to express it to the universe and to your
I
listeners.
know. Awards are so wild. It's like they don't mean anything until you get them. You don't want
Right.
them until you get them. It's like, you know.
Well, I think everyone secretly would love one, but
Of course.
you know, if you're going to call The Bear a comedy, then somebody needs to straighten their hat on a little better. But we're not the boss of things, are we?
But listen, you know what? That is why art is subjective. Everybody has their opinion. So,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
but thank you so much. We appreciate you. We hope you have a great day.
You too, and thank you for having me on. You guys are lovely.
Of course.
You
thank
as well.
you.
Bye.
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 There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.